Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Hello. So, welcome to the lecture on accessibility audit and simulation. So, we have been discussing about this for quite some time, that how do you identify the barriers, how do you decode the bottlenecks in the environment so that you can come up with the universal design and inclusive planning solutions. Okay. So, today we will be going through the standard procedure of auditing a building, a built environment, followed by another exercise which is some kind of a role playing exercise, which is called the simulation exercise. Now, the basic difference between accessibility audit and simulation is that accessibility audit, they both try to identify the barriers in the environment, but the accessibility audit is generally performed by a group of technical experts, whereby they try to identify the standard problems in the built environment with the help of a checklist. But simulation exercise is generally performed in the presence of technical experts, but with other volunteers, whereby people kind of do role playing, that is, they simulate the a type of vulnerability and try to perform certain activities so that they can identify the problems in the built environment. So, let us see the basic approach. So, this is understanding accessibility audit and its significance. We will try to do that, the audit process for the buildings and also the steps for conducting holistic accessibility audit. So, the purpose is we come up with a document or a report which is called the accessibility audit report, and the content of the report is the documentation of all sorts of physical and psychological barriers which person with disability might be facing, or person with any kind of vulnerability, to be precise, will be facing in that environment. Sometimes they are also, it is recommended that they are also the report also contains a set of solutions or a set of strategic recommendations to ensure accessibility or to remove the barriers. So, that is the content, that is the structure of the accessibility report. Now, the audit process, how does it happen? You need to have first of all, you need to have a proper audit team. It is essential that there has to be a team leader who is preferably an architect or an engineer with a knowledge of accessibility. Now, just to tell you that now recently we have many accessibility certified accessibility auditors in our country who are working in this field and who are doing this audit team. Now, the entire audit process is conducted through a sequence of activities which involves observing how people are reacting with the building, because certain things might not be visible to the observer, but someone who is using the building by watching him or her, you can identify the barriers by conducting some measurement with help of the checklist. And also the last part, that is it is important that if when you are doing this observation, you observe the building when it is functioning. Say you are auditing a school building, it makes sense that if you do the audit, of course not compromising with the school activities, but you do the audit when children are there, so that you can find out, by observing them you can find out that where lies the problem. So, that is the in a nutshell the audit process. So, the steps for conducting accessibility audit: first of all, you start with a stakeholder meeting, that what I am talking as an architect or as a planner now, that what does your client want, which parts of the building are to be audited. Maybe we have discussed the various levels of access to be provided. So, what does he or she want? To which part, I mean, does he want to make the entire building accessible, or there are certain parts of the building which is required to be made visitable, or it needs to be universally accessible? Then get the drawings. Take the drawings, take the architectural drawings along with the visual images, if any, just to as a groundwork. Third step, reconnaissance survey of the built environment by the entire access audit team, followed by the detailed accessibility audit, which we will discuss. Now, if you see the step 4, it says that the detailed accessibility audit on site along with stakeholders participation. Why? As I said, that it might so happen, say you are looking at a corridor. You are looking at a corridor or a lift lobby in an office building. They look okay. I mean, they are flats. They are flat surface, proper skid proof tiles with grab bars wherever required. But maybe someone who is there from the management who tells you that this becomes really crowded during when the office starts and when it breaks off, or during the lunch time. So, these are certain things which probably are not visible unless and until you talk to the users, because you are not able to, you are not doing a 24-hour audit. So, it's not possible to capture every situation or every moment. So, it is advisable that you need to have that conduct the accessibility audit along with the stakeholders. Then the documentation of the findings. I mean, in consultation with the stakeholders, you need to get your findings weighted by the clients or by the users. And step 6, that is the development of accessibility strategies, that what best you can do. We have seen good practices that where probably you can do some retrofitting solution, maybe, and always wherever you give these accessibility strategies, it is important that these are easily doable, requiring minimal intervention. Don't say that break the building and just and do something drastic. I mean, that's so not feasible, and that's not advisable also. So, whatever is the best solution possible, of course not compromising with the accessibility norms and standards, and give the solutions. And the last one, that for implementation you might be asked to give some implementation strategies also based on the result of the audit, quick ways to do it. Maybe they can ask for some phasing, that okay, tell me which one should I do first, which one do you think is the most severe the barrier. So, that you have the law, that you have, I mean, of course, you will get feedback from the users, but you are also a technical person. So, we can do that. So, now let us see the steps for conducting holistic accessibility audit. So, now both these exercises, I mean both these content, that is the accessibility audit as well for the simulation. So, I will be sharing some of our students exercises which we have done, and for which we have been properly documented so I will be presenting those to you. Say you start with the stakeholders meeting with the audit team. Here like we were auditing an old age home and another office building, so where we had a presentation. So, the first one, it shows that where we were talking with the stakeholders, they are all the residents of the old age home, where we were understanding their ideas. And the second one, that was a training session where you train the audit team, and you need to form a motivated audit team. The number of the members will depend upon the scale. So, this, as I said, that this is how first you try to get the building plans, that architectural drawings. Better to have, it is not better to have, it is required to have the as built drawing. I am sure architects and engineers are familiar with this term. So, as built architectural drawings are required. Now, within those as built drawings, you can have zone demarcation, because you are having a huge team maybe. So, and you can divide your team into subgroups where they can take up the audit exercise in each of these sub zones. So, you first divide it. Then go for the basic reconnaissance survey, preliminary documentation of the barriers through reconnaissance visit, capture the visuals, feel the place, go through it, then then decide on the detailed scope of work and plan logistic, which will include proper measurement. Say you are seeing a door, whether the width of the door is adequate. You are seeing a slope, whether you are seeing a ramp, whether the slope of the ramp is as per the acceptable standards. You are seeing an entry. So whether there is a smooth. We have discussed in the last class that what level of level difference is okay, and beyond which you need to slightly fillet it or chamfer it so that the wheel can comfortably go up and down. So these are the certain things you would first observe and then document with the help of a checklist. I will come to the checklist in the next step. Now this is the fourth step, where the detailed accessibility audit, where you are, as you can see. So these are all our IIT students who are of fourth year architecture, who have been taking the access audit of one of our auditoriums. And as you can see that they are measuring the stage, they are measuring the riser height, they are measuring the toilet, and this is this kind of a checklist this boy is carrying, with the help of which you need to exactly document that. So this part is very important here, that conduct the audit with the help of a checklist. When we were discussing about this harmonized guidelines in that particular lecture, I had mentioned that there is the last chapter or the chapter 8 of the harmonized guideline talks about a very exhaustive checklist. So that is the checklist which we generally follow now. Well, of course, if you see AI's Accessible India campaign website, if you visit, we have discussed that also. There are many documents which are very building specific. So building specific, so you might sometimes need to adopt certain certain parameters from those Accessible India campaign. I repeat, the Accessible India campaign website has documents which talks about the accessibility of the specific building, their specific requirement. So when you are actually auditing a particular building, you can follow the harmonized guideline checklist as a basic structure, but you would always be required to improvise upon that based on these additional feedback which you get from the other documents. So please refer to, whenever you select a building, refer to the relevant document from the AIC. Most of the buildings are covered there. So now here you are doing the exactly you are doing the measurement with the help of tapes. You can do laser also, and at this stage it is important that in case this is related to simulation, that in case you think that certain spaces or certain areas within the building require some more in-depth understanding, you can parallelly conduct a simulation exercise. Though accessibility audit is a independent standalone exercise, but if you feel, in case you feel that you might require to some additional validation, then you can also conduct a partial role playing exercise, which is a simulation exercise, which we will explain. So let us see how to use the checklist. Now, whenever you do the assessment, there are this is again the scale adopted from the rating scale adopted from the harmonized guideline again, which talks about this. These are say 5-point scale. The first, that is say any building component, say the entry door to a classroom. It can be, if it is getting 1, that means it is hazardous, inaccessible and unsatisfactory. Or maybe you think about a staircase. Maybe you have very steep risers and not inappropriate trades. Maybe trades are broken, no handrail. So that's very hazardous, inaccessible and unsatisfactory. You get 1. Inaccessible and unsatisfactory. That means slightly better. Maybe the handrail is there, but still the other things are not satisfactory. Now, these are basic examples I am giving. Accessible and unsatisfactory. Maybe there is a, you don't have a, other than the staircase, you also have a ramp, but the slope is not proper, you are feeling unsafe, so that is unsatisfactory. Accessible and acceptable. Maybe you have a proper ramp, 1:15 slope with adequate handrail, so that is accessible and acceptable. So you get 4. Acceptable as a best practice. You have a this kind of this 1:15 ramp with handrails on both the sides. You have these tactile guidelines on the beginning at the end. So that means that is accessible as a best practice, and you get a 5 point. So this is how you do the entire auditing. Now we will just go through the checklist, because it will be otherwise very boring if I just start reading out the checklist. Just so this is the site entrance. 1 or 2 I will just explain. Say, is the site entrance marked with legible and clear signage? Yes or no? And the remarks you can give. That is the rating. Is the site map provided with braille tactile feature? Say, parking. Are there accessible parking? Are they of adequate dimension? Is the drop off area marked by signage? So these are all given in much detail in the harmonized guideline checklist, chapter 8. Access routes. Is it wide enough? 1200 when walkway in one way, or 1800 when 2 wheelchairs are required? Is it totally covered with anti-skid tiles? Are there tactile ground surface indicators? Curb ramps. What is the height of the curb that it is catering to? What is the minimum width of the curb ramp? So we have in the last class we have seen that is what is the curb, the curb ramp, the features, the slope, the width and everything, flared and everything. So are those confirmed or not? Main entrance. Is the main entrance of the building visible? People should know where is the main entrance, and in case the main entrance is different from the accessible entrance, it might be there might be 5 entry points to the building, 1 is accessible, then that accessible building should have proper signage marking. Does it have a ramp with a railing? So like that. Sanitary is whether the doorway, whether there is adequate space to turn the wheelchair. What is the height of the what are the heights of the these say sanitary fixtures? What is the height of the WC? Are there grab bars? So all these points. What is the height of the water closet? So everything will come here. Drinking water. Is the drinking water visible? Are the spouts at proper height? Are there glasses? Small things but important. Are there glasses there present there, which are also accessible? You might have the the water, the source of water which is wheelchair friendly, but the glasses are kept at a height. It doesn't make sense then. So whenever one thing is very important, whenever you do this accessibility audit in a building, you need to understand the interaction. We have been talking from the day one that whenever there is a faulty interaction between the user and the environment, there is a problem. So whether the interaction is happening, whether purpose is solved, whether someone can comfortably drink water, so these things are required to be understood. Signage, height of the sign. Is the lettering size proportional to the reading distance? We have all seen these. Okay, so whether these are, so whatever we have learnt as guidelines or standards, they are converted to questions for every zone, and you are trying to answer that yes, no, and rate them. Emergency evacuation, we have done that. Does the emergency evacuation exit lead to the accessible assembly area? Because you might have an emergency evacuation corridor with following all the norms and standards, what we saw in the last lecture, last slide. But it leads to a place, to a foyer maybe, and from there the way down is only through the staircase. Then it's not useful anymore. Public telephones, yeah. It's there, though we are becoming less dependent on this. Resting facility checklist. So it is important that whether you have the chair anthropometry correct, but other than that, whether you have these the adequate resting spaces at a proper interval, because if the elderly person is moving, after a while, after a few meters of walk, we might need to sit for a while. So do we have provision for those? Are there backrest, armrest and everything, because they need a comfortable place to sit. Then after you have done the audit, you compile them. After you have done entire thing, you compile them in the form of these findings and you put it on the paper. You put it on the paper and just with the help of the drawings, say like here they have identified this, these are the 2 staircases which requires some kind of treatment. So and it is important that whenever you show this on the map, on the building plan, you also give supportive images. And you need to, this should be this kind of an acceptable presentation, whereby you kind of say 1. So that means the view from here. 2. That means view here. So this is a very standard way of representing, because if you just tell me inaccessible corridor, I don't know where it is. So it always should be numbered like this. Point 2. So that means I know that exactly looking at this, okay, this is what is the problem here, okay, this is the problem here. What is the problem here? 5. Okay, this is the entry, okay, this is the problem here, this open gratings is the problem here. What is the problem at point 7? Okay, this kind of the parking where when there is no barrier free parking, everything is scattered, that's the problem there. So I can relate it, that's the idea. Then just compilation, keep on, in detail. And finally, accessibility strategy for retrofitting. You can take the help of SketchUp, you can take the help of AutoCAD and just give provisions. Basic interventions, like there a lift has been proposed, a ramp has been proposed. Here there wasn't, we were not getting adequate slope for a single ramp, adequate space for a single slope ramp. So there was a turn had to be taken like this. So like this, you keep on proposing. So that should be the end of the your document. Like this. Thus these are solutions to be provided. This all students' work they have done. Okay. Now next part is the very quickly I will go through, that is the this is the simulation exercise part, because whereby you do role playing. So in case you have missed anything, this will help you to identify those barriers, those hidden barriers. We have to be talking about tangible barriers and intangible barriers. In case there be some intangible barriers, what you do the simulation exercise, whereby you play the role of play the role of an elderly man, or you play the role of a blind person, or you just play the role of an amputee, and then put those restrictions on yourself, and then try to perform a set of activities. So many things can be simulated. It is not possible to simulate intellectual disability. That's not possible. At least I am not aware of how you do that. But locomotor disability, visual impairment, hearing impairment, speech and language disability also, it is possible to simulate. Elderly, gender. So how can we simulate that? With the help of wheelchair, adjustable crutches, sunglasses. So we'll see those how we have done. I'll just show you some photographs. Not much of talking, just we'll see some photographs now. There are some pre-exercise preparation and then conducting the exercise. Now pre-exercise preparation means you get the props together, have a motivated team, conduct a reconnaissance and decide the routes to follow and the activities to perform. Identify the volunteers, and very important, identify the volunteers with no pre-existing medical condition. You should not involve someone who is not fit to do it. And then conducting the exercise. So we'll let us go through the steps and see, instead of just spending much time on this not very interesting slide. So step 1, pre-exercise preparation, get the props, keep a first aid box ready, do the reconnaissance, take permission if required. I mean, if say you are doing outdoor, if the police is to be informed, if you're doing in somebody's premises, if the authority is to be informed, do that. And then prepare an itinerary of activities and the route to be followed, because they are to be told. Then conducting the exercise. So, first one, brief the participants, make them understand, explain them. Divide the larger group into smaller subgroups or of pairs. Now, why I am saying pairs? Because it is always someone who performs, another one as a helper. Because in case of there is some kind of an emergency, some kind of unacceptable situation, so that the other person can help. So, one person who is role playing, the other person is the helper. So divide them into the groups, pairs. Make them explain properly. So then explain the props, that you have a wheelchair, you have these crutches. You can use these for this earphones for simulating the sensory disability. You can also have these industrial earbuds where it becomes the totally sound gets cut off. You can have visual impairment. The best for blind, you can just go for this black bandage or handkerchief and cotton pads. And otherwise for cataract and all, you can have sunglasses smeared in some liquid or soap or something like that you can use. Okay, you can, for elderly, you can use for simulating heart conditions, for jackets. Then demonstrating to use the devices, explain them, because they are new there. Explain them how to do how to use the devices. So as you can see, this boy is being explained how to stop the wheelchair, how to operate the wheel, the stop wheel, and this boy is being told how to. My assistant is helping him to tie the bandage so that his leg can be folded, so that he exactly gets the feeling. So demonstrate and make them comfortable. Don't ask them to go into the exercise just now. So first let them be comfortable. Let them walk a few steps. Let them stand. Let them make them physically comfortable and confident. Then assemble them, like you can see that it is there ready. One helper and one participant. They are all set for following the routes. So we were starting from our parking. So the journey starts. They are made to follow the routes. A person is always there at the back to help. They are made to just take the help of the grab bars wherever possible, use the lift, try to feel the lift. Use the universal design toilet. Let's see, this I wanted to highlight that maybe because of he is unable to locate the grab bar, because he is looking at, maybe searching at a different height, because when you just try to close your eyes and feel the height, that perception also reduces. So that's why it's very important to guide a person who doesn't have vision. It is difficult to control the wheelchair. This person is coming at the edge. We talk about, the ramp is there, but there is no proper edge protection. So this could be dangerous if this is a self-propelling, wheelchair. Someone is using the wash basin. This is actually universally designed wash basin. Using the basin. The basin is at a good height. Can park himself by the side of the water closet for a proper transfer. So just testing these out. But just look at this boy who is very comfortably using the basin. But at the next moment, when someone who is on a crutch cannot use the same basin. So that means it is not universally accessible. Ideally, the basin should be at two heights. Neither can he see himself in the mirror. This is a smooth, otherwise a smooth corridor of with a proper width, but there is no place for the two wheelchairs to cross. And just by placing this kind of mats, the width has been compromised with. This girl actually gave some pressure and broke it. So it is not only I mean, if you remember that that last class we were talking about the strength that they can these handrails can withstand. So if you see the harmonized guideline, you would see that whenever these are we have given the description of this, it talks about the diameter, it talks about the how much strength it should be able to carry. So this is an example where this young girl, she broke it because she applied pressure in the wrong way. Final step, monitoring and evaluation. So they were asked to give their feedback. They sat in their classroom and they gave their feedback. So these are the feedback form. Unfortunately, I've got it only one here. Yeah, the feedback form actually made for two categories. Like one is the feedback form for the vulnerable person, another one is the feedback form for the person who was the helper. So they were asked few basic questions. I will show in the next slide what these questions were. Now for the vulnerable person, the questions were like the basic things: age, gender, type of vulnerability, and then tell us about 5 major points and problems you faced, 5 situations where you had maximum problem, and how did you overcome those. How long was the exercise? Which part was most difficult? How when you felt more tired? And this was the helper and the observer. So what we are doing, we try to compare that 5 major problems and 5 major problems when who were helping had faced the problem. They may be same, may not be same, because when you are maybe someone is having pain walking, but the other person sees that okay, he is walking. So you cannot say, maybe cannot exactly. So that's the intangible barrier. A smooth surface looks smooth, a smooth surface without any ups and downs looks barrier free. But if that is a 50-meter long corridor, then that is not barrier free, because the person will be tired at the end of maybe more than 30 meter or 40 meter, would require to sit. So that's why it is important that simulation exercise is important to understand where exactly the shoe pinches. So this was our team who helped me in doing this simulation exercise. This was done as a part of their class exercise, and this subject we teach at IIT Kharagpur for the 4th year students. Thank you.